Use the properties of equality. My example of properties of equality just means if I give my son a Slurpee, don't you think my daughters would think it's fair or equal if I also give them a Slurpee? Now in math, the properties of equality are actually over here. The opposite of multiplication is what? Division. The opposite of addition is? Subtraction. Okay? Use the properties of equality to solve each equation. State the property used for each step of your solution. I'm just going to solve it and not give it the state it or write it out. So let's do B together. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line down my equal sign. Class, yes or no? Do you have anything in front of the multiplication? I mean, on the parentheses. There's nothing in front. That's just a example. But there's no number. There's not like 3 or 2 minus 3. Class, is there anything behind the parentheses besides the power of 2? So that means there is no addition and subtraction. There is no multiplication and division. What's the first thing I need to do in this problem? What's the opposite of the exponent? Does anyone know? We're going to build a house. Let's put a house. Everyone say square root. Now the square root only actually corresponds to one particular number. That number is what? 2. So pretend that B is not there. Zoom in for you. And to review a radical sign, it'll make sense if I simplify the right side. Class, what are two numbers, identical numbers that multiply to be 121? Your answer is 11. Now, pay attention. I did say two numbers that multiply to be equal a positive 121. Does anyone know another number besides positive 11? A negative 11. The reason why I have to have two of these is because when you're using the square root with an equation, you will have both plus and minus 11. Okay? So, on the left side, this power of 2 and this number and the radical will actually cancel, and you're left with just x plus 3. We're trying to solve for x. What's the next thing we need to do, class?
Subtract 3.
Subtract 3. Okay, pay attention now. Anytime you have a plus or minus here, and you need to move something else to it, you need to move it to the left of the plus or minus. Which side, class? The left of the plus or minus. So it's kind of like squeezed right in there. When I cancel the 3 and the negative 3, that equals what number? 0. So we're left with x equals negative 3 plus or minus 11. The plus or minus now separates the problem into two. And what I like to do as a visual is I just like to cover with my finger. Class, what's negative 3 plus 11? Positive 8. So let's write that. X equals 8. And then I'm going to use my finger now to cover up the plus sign to do the second problem. Negative 3 minus 11 is?
Negative 14.
Negative 14. My two answers are x equals 8 and x equals negative 14. Remember, you can always check your answer and plug it into the original equation. 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 squared is 121. Negative 14 plus 11 is a negative 11. Negative 11 squared is positive 121.